Hey, welcome to Bariatrics and Tips. I am Michelle Geeson, your hostess with the Moses. Welcome to our Facebook Live recipe demonstration. I've got a lot to show you, a lot of recipes. I went completely overboard, but that just confirms my desire to do everything Jell-O. And that is the topic of conversation for today, and the topic of our demonstration is everything Jell-O or gelatin. One of the things we have in common is that we've all had weight loss surgery, or we're gearing up to have weight loss surgery. But even if that doesn't fit the bill, even if you're just striving for overall health and wellness, if you're trying to combat diabetes, you are not alone. Our desire to be healthy is what fuels my desire to live large, cook small, and find flavor in everything that I do. And this is no exception. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the Jell-O or the gelatin today, because whether you're at the beginning of a bariatric journey or a diabetic journey, or even if you're years out of bariatric surgery like I am, Jell-O is still a really great go-to dessert, snack. I've even had it for breakfast before, so no judgment there. So lots to show you today. I've got 4 things to show you, but 2 recipes to demonstrate. You are gonna get recipes starting at 3 o'clock on our Facebook page, Bariatrics and Tips. You're gonna get one at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 6 o'clock. I do have some things that I wanna show you as well, but I wanna get started with our first 2 recipes. It does require heating up our liquid, so I am going to measure that out with you on camera first, and then get that going, and then we can kind of talk about everything else. If you have any questions or concerns, any questions about any of the products or gadgets or ingredients that you see on this broadcast today, certainly feel free to let me know in real time during this broadcast, or pose those questions on our Facebook page, okay? My camera person, Maya, is gonna be coming on to this side. Maya, say hiya.
Hi.
Can you say it a little bit louder with a little bit more zeal? They're like, hi, whatever. Anyways, so the first 2 things I'm gonna show you are protein gelatin and protein Jell-O mousse, okay? Maya, come around to this side, will you, please? Awesome. Please let me know if someone speaks up, okay? Because I can't see anything. So you can certainly focus, you can focus on me for a second. The main ingredient for these 2 recipes is either water, or you can choose your favorite 0-calorie drink. So this is a new discovery for me, and Maya, you can zoom in if you want so you can show everybody. This Tampico is the brand name, it looks like, and this is zero sugar pineapple coconut punch, and it is absolutely one of my favorites. And so I am going to use this as my liquid base today for my gelatin. You can opt to use water, you can opt to use Crystal Light, whatever 0-calorie drink you want to use is completely up to you. And that's the beauty of these recipes, is you can tweak it to fit your particular bariatric or wellness lifestyle, okay? So here we go. We're gonna do 1 recipe at a time, but for all intended purposes, I wanna at least show you the juice content so I can get those going on the stove, okay? For the protein gelatin, we actually need a total of 4 cups of liquid, but we are gonna put 1 cup in this glass bowl. So let's do that real quick. 1 cup in here. Maya, come on over here and really pan in nice so everybody can see. Oh, it's a little chilly too. It's been outside, so it's crystallized. So 1 cup of it is gonna go in the bowl, and 3 cups is gonna go into a saucepan. All right. So I'm putting it in the saucepan, and let me walk on over here. You're getting the play-by-play by my fantastic camera person. All right, so now for the second recipe, for our Jell-O mousse recipe, we actually need 1 cup of water or 0-calorie juice into a little bit of a smaller saucepan. So I'm gonna go ahead and put 1 cup. Oop, there goes a nice chunk in there. And that is gonna go on the medium heat too. So I'm gonna put this on medium to low heat and give that a chance. And this one I'm putting on power boil because I want to be able to show you that right away. So let's come back over here. And for our protein gelatin, there's a few things going. The first thing that we needed to do was put 1 cup of juice in a glass bowl, so I've already done that. We want to sprinkle in the gelatin, 2 envelopes of unflavored gelatin, which is 1/4 ounce each, and 1/2 of an ounce is the equivalent of a tablespoon. So I'm gonna go ahead and I've got unflavored Knox gelatin, and I bought it by the canister. I bought it online on Amazon. You can buy the single serving envelopes at your local grocery store, but I was using so much gelatin that this seemed to be a little cost effective. And there's a really good, I think I bought this last year, and the expiration date isn't until the end of this year, so it's gonna do pretty well. So I want a tablespoon of the gelatin, and when you sprinkle it over the liquid, that's called blooming it. So we are gonna bloom this gelatin, and I'm gonna whisk it. So we wanna sprinkle it over. I got a nice teaspoon, or a tablespoon, sorry, and we're gonna bloom it. We're gonna sprinkle it over. And then we are going to whisk it. And you want to whisk the living daylights out of it. It's going to make sure it's going to completely dissolve here. The other thing that we want to do that I forgot to do, so we're gonna, Maya, I'm gonna step away from this just for a second. We want to put 6 tablespoons, which is the equivalent of 1/2 cup of liquid protein collagen. This is what I got on Amazon. It is liquid collagen protein. This is a watermelon flavor. It's super delicious. You can definitely Google liquid collagen protein on Amazon and you will be able to see it. If you're local here in Grand Rapids and you're part of the bariatric group that I go to, their liquid collagen is called Profuse, and that works really well too. So we want 1/2 cup of this, and you can see, just looks like syrup. Tastes really good mixed in water and chilled. Come on over here, Miss Mai. Let me get another whisk. All right, we are gonna combine this in with our juice and whisk it. And we need to get this to a boil. There, it combines really nice. And then I kind of like to scrape everything. All right. Hi, Marcia. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Melissa. Say hi if you want. I'll say hi back. I can see the screen right now because we're whisking. All right, so we're still waiting for this to come to a boil. And what we're gonna do once this comes to a boil is we are gonna just pour this into the mixture that we already have on the kitchen counter, okay? Very similar to making regular Jell-O. And while we're waiting for this to boil, I wanna share with you that each one of these servings, this is gonna make 8 servings. There's gonna be 35 calories. Hi, Kim. 0 fat, 1/2 of a carb gram, and 8 grams of protein. So it's really good. And this is so great for someone who is in those first phases of the bariatric journey or even right after surgery. So I'm seeing a little bit of a boil here. So let's go ahead and turn this heat off. Come on over here, Mai. And now we're gonna continue to whisk this hot liquid into the other liquid. So I like to really whisk ferociously. I'm glad you could join us, Kim. Hope you guys have all had such a great week. All right, the goal here is to make sure that everything is really well dissolved. And that's one of the good things about using a glass bowl, is that you can look over here and you can see that it's dissolved very well. Good camera work there, Maya. You're welcome. All right, you want to focus on over here. You can focus on me for a second. So now I want to make sure that I put this into 8 different portions. What I like to do, a best tip for me, especially if you want to use something that's disposable and you don't have to worry too much about it, I invested in these disposable, I guess you used to call it souffle cups or disposable cups and lids. So I am going to use these, and what I am going to do is actually pour our concoction into this measuring cup, which also will help me serve it. Now it is kind of full, so I'm a little worried that I'm setting myself up for failure here. So I'm going to take a measuring cup to start, and I'm just going to pour this liquid goodness into the cup. And I'm going to do that, 8 times. And all you're doing is making sure that they're even. Okay, so should I test fate here? There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Bada boom, bada bing. There we go. Oh, I fell a little short. I don't know how I did that, but you can tweak them and you can pour a little bit out of each one of them. I just want them to get as even as you can, and you'll start to gauge how full you need it to be in order to make them equal. So here we go. I just like to put the lids on, and then I can get those into the, I can get those into the refrigerator. And I'm not gonna bore you to tears and have you watch me put lids on all of these, especially since it doesn't seem to be going very well. All right, so that is the protein gelatin. I did make some earlier, and so I want to show you the fruit of my labor. So this I'll assemble after. So now here's the gelatin. Now I used a different kind of fruit beverage. I used like a mango punch. So you're gonna see that it's orange. And here is our protein gelatin. Can you see it? It is so delicious. It's very refreshing. It doesn't taste greeny or proteiny or anything like that. I think it's a really solid recipe. So again, you'll get that recipe this afternoon. So that's recipe number 1, our protein gelatin. Let's shift gears a little bit to our protein mousse. Okay, so what we're doing in this recipe is we're actually gonna use store-bought gelatin. All right, you're gonna use, I've got the sugar-free lime. What, if someone's saying something? Oh, you wanna pan through? Gosh, she's very detailed. She's like, wait, you want it? You want Jell-O? Well, you can have Jell-O. She just wants it plain. That's no fun. All right, so 1 packet of, the small packet of Jell-O. The first thing that we wanna do is we want to heat the liquid so it's warm but not hot, okay? So we're gonna empty this into the bowl without anything else in it. Bada boom, bada bing. All right, we are gonna pour the hot liquid, so whether you choose water or 0-calorie juice, you're gonna pour that in next. So let me do that. All right. It is hot but not boiling, and we just need a cup. And I'm fairly certain, well, it is a cup because you watched me pour it. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch hands here. And come on in, Maya. And I wanna start stirring and stirring. We want everything to dissolve. Those sugar, or those lids and cups, You can buy them in packages where they come by the sleeve. You can buy them in bulk. You can buy them as a set with the cup and the lids. You can do a lot of different things with that. All right, so I'm gonna keep whisking this. And then what we wanna do is, so the ingredients to recap, we have a cup of either water or 0-calorie juice, and we have a small box of your favorite sugar-free Jello flavor. You can use off-brand Jello, you can use Jello brand Jello. It just has to be the small box because that's what the recipe calls for. Then I like to add a little bit of Splenda just to get it a little bit sweeter. And the reason why I do this, you can stay focused on that, Maya. Let me go grab my Splenda. I forgot to do that. Is because the next ingredient we're gonna add is non-fat plain Greek yogurt. And there's a little bit of a tang to that non-fat plain Greek yogurt. And so the Splenda is a really good offset for that. So I'm gonna put 2 teaspoons. You could actually add more if you want after you taste it. Again, keep mixing. The next thing that we're going to add is gonna be 4 scoops of unflavored protein powder and 10 ounces of your favorite brand of non-fat Greek yogurt, okay? This is where we have to be really meticulous. You're gonna have your hand mixer on hand. I've got it right over here. I always like to make sure that I have the Jello dissolved before I go to the next step. And again, that's the great part of having a glass bowl, as you can see that it's all dissolved. And if it's not dissolved, you would just take your whisk and you would scrape the parts that needed to be further mixed. All right, so this is my 4 scoops of protein powder. It is unflavored. If you're asking about the brand I'm using, this Nectar brand was given to me and I am so grateful for the gift. It is unflavored. It's considered medical grade protein powder, and it was purchased at the Bariatric clinic here locally. I think you can get it online as well. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna pour in our Greek yogurt and really scrape all the goodness out of there because Greek yogurt is full of protein and so delicious. I should have taken the whisk out of there first, and now we are gonna dump in the protein powder, and here's where the rubber needs to meet the road. We've got to mix this bad boy. Not on too high of a power, otherwise it'll splatter everywhere. So here's where we really need to take our time. The more you mix this, the more aerated it becomes, and it's gonna have that mousse-like texture that we all know and love, okay? So not just blending it until it's fully mixed, blending it until you get carpal tunnel or want to fall asleep. I'm just talking for like a few minutes tops, and you can try and increase your speed. I just wanna prevent any spattering. I did this the other day. I made so much Jello mousse and it got over everything because I was a little overzealous with the mixing machine. Okay, this also makes 8 servings in those same disposable cups with lids that I showed you. And here, instead of the 35 calories for the regular protein gelatin, you're looking at 46 calories per serving, 1.3 grams of carbs, 9.3 grams of protein, and 0 grams of fat. So it is a complete no-brainer. And Maya, why don't you take a look down here? You can kind of see how all those bubbles are getting in there? That air, and then you can see it from top too, Maya. All those bubbles are gonna help give us that really airy, moussey flavor once it sets in the refrigerator. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and stop this, and rather than have you watch me pour this into 8 souffle cups, pardon me, Maya, thank you, I'm just gonna go ahead and show you the finished product, okay? So come on over here. I've got 2 kinds of, I've got three kinds of mousse to show you because like I said, I was a little overzealous. Here's the green that I just made, the lime flavor. Let me get a spoon real quick so I can demonstrate its moussey texture. All right, come on over. Maya, come on over. Part of that don't you understand. Okay, so can you see all those little airy fluffy holes in there? Look at the texture of this mousse. It's amazing. All right. The green one is actually my favorite. For some reason, it was just so refreshing. Plus, green is my signature color, so you can't argue with that. And my daughter just rolled her eyes at me. All right, next one. Yeah, you bet your bippy, Melissa. I'm gonna be eating this when we're done. This is, I think it is black cherry. That's what this is. And again, you can see how everything is nice and airy. It's a toss-up. I'm not quite sure which one I like better. Okay, but here's the pièce de résistance, okay? I add a little bit of cocoa, and instead of using unflavored protein powder, I used chocolate, and I got chocolate mousse, dark chocolate mousse, and look at that. Now this might alter the, if your cocoa has substantial calories or sugar in it, it might alter it, but this is so chocolatey, and it's got that nice tang that chocolate mousse often has. Super delicious, okay? So I just showed you 3 amazing ways to make chocolate mousse, or to make mousse, and they are all amazing. The protein gelatin, the mousse, they're amazing, all right? I've got 2 other things that I want to show you. The first one requires you coming over to the fridge with me so I can get it because I forgot to take it out. All right, you can use gelatin in so many different ways, and I made my own berry preserves. This is amazing, and I usually buy the sugar-free Smucker's equivalent of berry jam. This beats the pants off of it, and it is so delicious, and it spreads nice, and actually, yes, I'm about to do this. Maya just rolled her eyes at me again. It is so good. This jam is so good. And all I did, again, you don't have to write anything down because I'm going to give you these recipes today. All I did was take 2 cups of fresh berries. That is a mixture of blackberries and raspberries fresh from the store. I used a half a cup of Splenda, a tablespoon of gelatin, 2 scoops of protein powder, and a cup of my 0-calorie juice. And all I did was boil the Splenda and the liquid and the berries, and I mash and stirred until I got a nice boiling concoction. I removed it from the heat, and then I whisked in the protein powder and the gelatin, just like you watched me do for the mousse. I let it cool just a little bit because I didn't want my fridge to work overtime, and then I threw it in the fridge. And when it set, it turned into what looks like Jell-O, and all I did was stir it up, and it's a delightful preserve that you can use on toast or on top of a dessert. Just so delicious. So I wanted to make sure that you had that recipe too. Finally, I wanted to show you a breakthrough recipe, and I'm so excited about it. A lot of people have been asking me to remake delightful high-calorie recipes, and I can only do so much because I don't want to have some sort of really shoddy surrogate recipe. But I made a cheesecake that is absolutely to die for. And I made it using my homemade cream cheese. And because my homemade cream cheese is lower in fat, I used gelatin to help keep it firm. And the general rule of thumb is that you use 1 teaspoon of unflavored gelatin for every 8 ounces of cream cheese. So my cheesecake recipe calls for 32 ounces of cream cheese, If you want to use fat-free, use fat-free. If you want to use homemade, like I have showed you how to do. But either way, that requires 4 teaspoons of gelatin. So I'll go through the recipe. I've got it on my laptop because it was just so much to write on an index card. It's pretty intricate, but a lot of these ingredients, like there was nothing that I needed to buy. Everything I had on hand. If your bariatric arsenal is up to par based on the things that I've showed you in the past, you should have no problem doing it. Again, this is my recipe. You can tweak it to your liking. But for the crust, instead of using traditional graham cracker crumbs, I used 1/4 cup each of what I refer to as my Fab Five. So that is almond, coconut, and hazelnut flours, 3 different kinds of flour, milled flaxseed, and hemp hearts. It gives you a very well-rounded flavor to draw from. It tastes nutty and crusty and delightful. I used 1/4 cup Splenda for that crust. And I used butter. In fact, I used 5 tablespoons of melted butter for the crust. And there are some things you just can't substitute for. I think the butter is extremely justified. I think in the grand scheme of things, when you see the nutrition content, you'll probably feel the same. But you can't use like avocado as a substitute for butter in this recipe because otherwise you'd have a green crust. I mean, I guess that would be good. It's March, it's St. Patrick's season. But at any rate, that's what I used for the crust. And then I did add 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, which is totally optional, but it gave a really nice flavor to it. And all I did was combine all those ingredients and pressed into the bottom of a springform pan. Now, if you're not familiar with what a springform pan is, I want to show you. It's a great invention. It is, it's got a tempered glass bottom. It's textured inside. I'm not quite sure if all springform pans are like that, but mine is. It's nonstick on the sides, and it's great for baking things like cheesecake because once it cools, you can decrease the tension on that, and then the side lifts off, and then you just have the cake, which would be on here. So it's a really great tool, and then all you have to do is tighten it again and it's good. So that's what I used. For the cheesecake itself, you're looking at 32 ounces of homemade cream cheese, or fat-free, however you want to do it. Just know that if you don't use the homemade cream cheese, the nutrition content is going to be a little skewed, okay? I used 1/2 cup plus an additional tablespoon of Splenda, and you can cater that to your liking. If you want something that's super sweet, certainly feel free to add more. I used 2 scoops of vanilla protein powder. I used 4 teaspoons of Knox unflavored gelatin, 3 teaspoons of vanilla, and 3 whole eggs. All right, I cooked this at 325 degrees. You wanted to make sure that you beat everything with a mixer or in a food processor until blended, except for the eggs. The eggs you're gonna drop in one at a time as that's being blended. And then all you do is pour it over the crust and you bake it for about 45 minutes or until it's just about set in the center. Now there's a debate as to like, some people on a traditional cheesecake would turn the heat off and just let it be in the oven. Yes, my dog's barking and that distracted me. But I actually take mine out after 45 minutes and put it on top of the stove. It'll still be cooking by then, and you don't want to overcook it because it can get a little too rubbery. What I did with the cheesecake that I'm about to show you is I added sugar-free cherry topping onto mine because that is my absolute weakness. And you can actually buy no sugar added cherry topping. This is the Duncan Hines version. It's no sugar added. It's 1/3 cup is 30 calories. It's got 7 grams of carb. It does not have any protein. If you wanted to fortify the topping, you could certainly add some protein to it, but it's just kind of like, it's pretty to serve it on top, and it's also delicious. So Maya, come on over here. Let's go to the fridge, and I'm gonna show you this amazing cheesecake. I put cherries on most of it, and actually I ran out. So Maya, you're gonna wanna show the cheesecake, and now kind of pan in and see, doesn't that look freaking amazing? Yeah, I like the glass bottom too, Kim. All right, so take a look at this cheesecake. Isn't it marvelous? It is so absolutely delicious. You want to make sure that it's chilled nice. This freezes beautifully. The graham cracker crust that you see is just a mixture of that Fab Five combination, all those flours and that nutty flavor. It turned out so good. This is something that I will surely make over and over and over again. Absolutely delightful, and I'm really, really proud of this recipe because I completely nailed it. And if I had a microphone, I would drop the mic. All right, so that is my show for you today. Please don't forget that Bariatrics and Tips is on all social media. So Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. Please note I've got a lot of really great video shorts on my TikTok, including one that I posted today about lupini bean hummus. It's absolutely amazing, and I will make sure that I pass that recipe on to you. Although the lupini bean preparation process, say that 5 times fast, takes about 8 days. So if you're interested, let me know. It tastes just as good as chickpea hummus. But at any rate, lots of great things on TikTok. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Keep those comments coming on all forms of social media. And thank you so much for being around. There is not a Facebook Live recipe demonstration next week. I am on vacation with an overnight stay with my best friend. So I won't see you then, but then I'll see you the week after, and I believe that's our steak bomb sandwich. So can't wait to show you that. Thank you so much. Enjoy your Sunday. It's gorgeous outside. Have a great day. See you later.